Today I got an ASUS TUF gaming laptop. I'm going to do some upgrading and cloning on it. I'll show you how to do it. Hey guys, how's it going? Dale here. Today I got an ASUS TUF gaming laptop. It's a couple of years old, give or take. It's got a 8th gen Core i5. What is it, 8300H processor. It's got 8 gigs of DDR4 memory. This model came new with a 1 terabyte mechanical hard drive, no solid state drive. So obviously we're going to upgrade that. I am going to, when all is said and done, the 1 terabyte drive will stay in there, but I'm going to clone that onto a brand new Western Digital Black NVMe M.2 SSD, a 1 terabyte instead of the mechanical drive, and I'm also going to add some more memory. It currently has 8 gigs of DDR4, 2666. I'm going to put in a matched set of some Samsung 2 8 gig sticks, so we'll have a total of 16. I just want it to be a matched set. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clone their hard drive onto the NVMe, and I have an enclosure here. So if you're doing this at home, you can buy one of these or something similar to it. But this one here is nice because you can use it as an external drive enclosure. You can put an SSD in there permanently and just use it for external storage. But they work great for cloning. This particular device only supports NVMe M.2 drives because of the M key here. Will not work with an M.2 SATA SSD. You can buy ones for like SATAs. You can buy similar adapters like this. These are like 15, 20 bucks. This one's NVMe only. This one here is M.2 SATA only, has the B key. So these are really inexpensive. So anyway, I like these enclosures. We use them a lot here in the shop as well as our cloning station over there. So we do a lot of clones. So customer doesn't want to lose any of their stuff or have to reinstall everything. So I put it in the enclosure, and this closure, as you saw, it'll accommodate all the different length SSDs. This one is a 2280. So I'm going to plug it into a USB port. I've already pre-installed the Western Digital or the Acronis True Image from Western Digital. It's free to download. I'll have a link where you can get it from Western Digital, but it only works if you have a Western Digital drive in the loop somewhere, either the one that's already in it or the one outside. So it's right here. I'm just going to double click it, get the program going. And there is a considerable amount of data on here, so the clone will probably take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes for the full clone. This is going to run so much faster with a solid state drive in it. Just the boot up time is kind of slow and sluggish, and it's just, it's about time they got an SSD. So it opens up. We're going to go up here. If this doesn't show, you just click on Tools. You go to Clone Disk. And then this process here takes a few minutes. It's going to read all the drives and accumulate data and partitions, so you got to be patient. Now, before you start this cloning process on any computer, it's always a good idea to go, before you even think about cloning, go into your settings. I'll show you, and go over to Update and Security. And make sure the drive encryption doesn't show up over here. Some computers will have that. It really just depends if they have the TPM security in the BIOS turned on or enabled. So this one doesn't have it, so don't worry about it. But if you have drive or device encryption enabled, you must turn it off. You can turn it back on when you're done, but you can't clone with it on. So when it comes up, we're going to choose the recommended automatic and hit next. Here's our source drive. This is our Seagate 1 terabyte hard drive that's currently in there. Just hit next. This Acronis True Image is a very popular software cloning package used by a lot of the manufacturers. Kingston, Crucial has their own version. Of course, Western Digital. There's others. I think A-Data uses it. Samsung has their own data migration software, they call it. Works really well. Of course, there's third-party other ones like Macrium Reflex 7 is a good free one to use. Other ones you have to buy and pay for, but this process just takes a minute. You got to be patient. All right, so there, now we're ready for our target, or our destination disk right here. Choose it. That's our Western Digital right there, our 1 terabyte. Hit next. It's going to do the same thing again. It'll take a minute or two, and then I'll get the clone started. And I won't bore you with the whole cloning process, obviously, but when it's right at the end or just about finished, I'll come back. I'll open it up, install the new parts, and we should be good to go. Make sure you watch some of my other videos. I have a link up above there where you can click on and go check out my playlist for all my other cloning videos and NVMe SSD installs. I'd appreciate it. Ideally, you should plug in your AC adapter when you're doing cloning. Don't start this process, when your battery's down to 20 or 30%. I got a full charge here. It should be plenty to get me through the cloning process. All right, now all we're going to do here is hit proceed. This is kind of a before and after. Click on proceed. And it goes through this locking partition, which is normal. But before you start your clone, other than device encryption, make sure you kind of clean it up. Disable any background apps that you have running down in your systems tray down here. If you can, right-click on them and hit exit. Make sure everything's tuned up. Make sure you don't have any Windows updates pending either. Get those out of the way so there's no pending updates. Sometimes that can cause issues when you're trying to boot off your new drive. It might even blue screen on you, but you can go into safe mode and get rid of those, undo those updates. A lot of little things that can happen with a clone like this, but I've done enough of them to kind of know what to watch out for on each individual device that I do. All right, so now it's going to start cloning. I'm just going to let this go, guys, and I'll be back in just a few. All right, guys, it just finished cloning. It took probably about 20, 25 minutes overall. So all we got to do here is click OK. We're going to turn off the computer and install our new parts. So I'm going to unplug the little adapter here and get my drive out. Ooh, nice and warm. Try not to touch the pins if you can help it when you're handling those drives. Okay, so we'll shut down the ASUS TUF. I always want to call them a TUF book. It's hard to say just TUF. Work on a lot of those. So once it shuts down here completely, we're going to get inside, disconnect the battery. Just to be safe. Always make sure you're protected against a static discharge, guys. Wear an ESD type wristband. You can get them online for like 10 bucks. Or an anti-static mat. Or some kind of surface where you're not going to get static zippity zap. Very important, and don't touch anything you don't have to touch in there. Now, I've already took the liberty to remove all the screws in this TUF, ASUS TUF. The 4 screws in the front are short screws, they're one length. All the rest of the screws, oh, and this one here is a short one, but all the rest of these screws are all a longer size. You can see I got them right over here, okay? That's the power brick for it. So I'm going to take my plastic triangle spudger tool, and you can get these, bag of these online for about 6 to 8 bucks. I'll have a link down below where you can buy some of these. Or some type of tool that you can get in here. Don't use a metal screwdriver and start prying. You're going to leave tool marks. Just going to get in the corner here. And I'm going to move it around a lot when I do this, guys, so forgive me. But just gently slide it along here. These ones actually do come off pretty easy. Not sure what he spilled in there, but I'll probably clean that out when I'm done, make it look pretty. Should just, excuse me, wiggle right off. And there we go. All right, so here's the hard drive. We just clone that onto the SSD. That is going to stay in, but what I like to do on those guys, I'm going to take this out. Just, again, this is all a lot of years of trial and error. If I put in the new SSD along with this one, 2 Windows installed, the boot manager gets a little confused. It may just keep booting off of this. So anyway, I'm going to get it out of the way here. Just 2 screws. Slide it back. Set it off to the side for right now. I'm going to disconnect my battery. Oop, deal. Using a nylon little spudger tool here, right here. We're just going to slide this back out of the little clip right there. Pretty straightforward, usually. Come on. All right. They don't give you a lot of extra wire here, you can see. So you just want to make sure it's disconnected. Just like that. That's good enough. Okay? But as an added precaution, I always like to open the lid and hit our power button a few times. This will discharge any stored energy like in the capacitors and whatnot. Hold it in. Alright, so now we got the battery disconnected. We're safe. Now, the RAM slots are right here. Here's the one 8 gig stick that's in here right now. I'm going to take that out. They cover up with these little protective shields. We don't need that. So I'm going to put our matched set of Samsung in here. This will give them dual channels, so that one single stick they had in there. You can see I'm just popping them in. When you put these in, you got to just make sure they're in evenly, and when you push them down, that the clips come in and hold it, and you get a good click. You can hear it, just like that. All right, so we got our RAM in here, guys. Now I'm going to mount the freshly cloned onto SSD. Right here's the M.2 slot, and here's the mounting screw they gave us. That's marked SSD, but it may or may not support an M.2 SATA. It probably will, considering the age of the laptop, but for the price, guys, you might as well go with the PCI Express and get a lot more performance. So I'm going to carefully plug it into the slot here. Put our mounting screw back in. Make sure it's lined up good. And we got a nice solid fit. All right, so we're good there. What I'm going to do on this hard drive is I'm going to take it over to our cloning station over there. I'm just going to zap this hard drive once I know we got a good clone. It'll just be an empty drive for extra storage for them, because it's still a good hard drive. I guess I need to hook the battery back up now, guys, because I'm going to boot it up and see what happens. But once you hook this battery back up, be very careful in here. Don't touch anything or drop a metal screwdriver in there. It's hard to line back up. Sorry, camera guy, but I need to get my big ugly hands in there. Oh, God darn it. Got to kind of get a little upward angle on it here. There it goes. See, you just got to make sure you get it in. Don't tug on those wires too hard if you can help it, but use plastic tools or your fingers, okay? So we got juice flowing back in there now. Fans look pretty clean. Very clean, actually. So we're good there. I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on and see if we got a good clone with our 16 gigs of RAM. Now, adding new RAM to any laptop, the first time you turn it on, it's not going to post right away. You got to give it a chance for the BIOS to read that new RAM. It's basically training, plus the new SSD we just put in there. So I'm not going to button it up just yet. Turn it back on and make sure it don't explode. It'll be, either way, it'll be a nice little upgrade. We just got to wait for it to post. Sometimes I've had these sit for a minute, minute and a half, and they won't, oh, there we go. They won't post. You just hold in the power button, shut it off, turn it on again, and then you're usually good to go. Now sometimes even after a clone like this, you might even get a blue screen. It's not the end of the world. I'm pretty confident we got a good clone, but if it does blue screen, a little trick we can do to get back into Windows, like it may do, because it's taking longer than it should be to be booting. Yeah, it's going to blue screen. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to we're going to do a hard shutdown. It says inaccessible boot device. So I'm going to turn it back on and try to get automatic repair to come up here real quick. I'm kind of glad it's doing this because I want to show you what you can do. I get a lot of comments. I'm going to hard shut down again. About people say, yeah, I did the clone, all went great, and now my computer won't boot. I'll turn it on again. Yeah, that's what I wanted. What I'm going to try to do is simply boot into safe mode. And we still got the hard drive. It's all the, just like it was. So worst case, you can put your hard drive back in and try another clone. But that's why I wanted to get that hard drive out of there, so we're dealing with just with our new M.2 drive. So I'm going to let it get through this. Take a minute here. I'm going to go to advanced options here. And I'm going to go to troubleshoot. I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to choose startup settings, and then I'm going to hit restart. Should work. I can't guarantee it. There's always surprises doing this stuff. Ooh, I'm going to hit 5 for enable safe mode with networking and see if we can get that going. All right, guys, I booted to safe mode. Right here, don't even bother logging in. If you have a login, if you don't have login, it'll just go into safe mode. Just go down to power at this point and just hit restart. You see, it did not blue screen. It got me to the safe mode login screen. And we'll see if it'll boot right up. See, now we should have a good boot. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and log in real quick. Boom. All right, there we go. So there's our Acronis. Looks like we got a good clone. I'm just going to open up Task Manager here really quick. I'm going to click on the Performance tab up here. Here's our newly installed 16 gigs of memory. Let's just open up File Explorer real quick and check out our drive situation. So here's our 1 terabyte OS drive, or SSD. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it down real quick again, guys. I still got to throw that other hard drive back in here real quick. So I'm going to let this shut down. I'm going to zap that hard drive real quick. I could do it in the computer, but I just prefer to do it outside the computer. It's a little easier and quicker. So I'll be back in 2 seconds. All right, guys, I just wiped this drive. It's all unallocated. We got a good clone, so I know we got all the data for the customer. I got to pop it back open here. I probably shouldn't have snapped it all the way shut, but I did. I'm going to take a second to pop it back open here. That was easy. Now, because I know what the heck I'm doing, I'm not going to disconnect the battery again because I don't like tugging on those wires. So I'm just going to carefully slide this back into place. Just like that. Put my mounting screws back in. If you want to disconnect your battery again, if you choose to do it this way, that's fine. If you're at home doing it, you probably should. But this is what I do. 25 years, I haven't zapped a computer ever. Smashed a couple with a hammer here and there, but they weren't cooperating. I'm kidding. All right, so now we can button it up. Good there. There's our SSD. You know what? On that SSD, I'm looking at that, the way it's mounted, there's absolutely no ventilation here for that drive, is there? So I'm going to put a heat pad on that for them. I got an extra one right over here. Now the label that these manufacturers put on their drives, a lot of people don't know that those actually serve a purpose. You don't ever want to remove those. It helps spread that heat over on the NAND chips and your controller. That does help. But I'm going to go ahead and put a heat pad on here to try to absorb some of that heat. It's too dangly. Just want to get it nice and centered here. Just like that. That should work. Got it on the controller as well. So I'm going to leave that on there. It is a gaming laptop after all. Pinch it back shut. And one last thing we got to do, I'm going to go into disk management, initialize that disk, and that's good for now. So yeah, guys, check out some of my playlists. I got lots of them with different type of cloning methods. Boy, this boots so much faster now. Look at that, boom, it's instant. I love it. I'm going to right-click on the Start menu here. Go to Disk Management. Excuse me, again, I got a scratch in my throat. There's our newly installed disk. I'm just going to hit OK. Let me make this bigger. It's right here. I'm just going to right click on it, go to new simple volume. And at this point, if you want, you could partition this right here, but in this case I'm not gonna. I'm just going to accept all the defaults. NTFS, finish. Now it's up here, it's drive letter D. There's no optical drive in these computers. So there. Oh, let me do this. This PC, there's our empty hard drive. So now they got a total of 2 terabytes. You can right click on these drives easily, guys, and go to rename and just name it whatever you want. Wrong key, hit continue, that's fine. So now we call it data, whatever you want. So there, now we got 16 gigs of RAM. We got good fast SSD, extra storage. Customers should be very happy. We'll uninstall Acronis because we didn't use it. So I appreciate y'all watching. I hope the video was helpful. Give me a like if you liked it. If you want to give me a sub, I would really appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.